So welcome everybody to today's session. Today we're going to talk about how DHL took vision picking to the next level. And this meant really reinventing the way case and each picking are being done at DHL using AR technology. I'm Percy Stocker. I'm one of the founding members of Ubimax, and since the merger with TeamViewer, a proud member of the TeamViewer family. I'm still responsible for all the AR activities in the Americas, and happy to be joined today by Gina Chung. And she is, as VP Innovation Americas, leading the innovation activities for DHL in the Americas. And we have a long history together, 7 years already. And that's especially a long time considering our young space. And I'm super happy that she's joining me today for this presentation, as she's always such an energetic speaker and very passionate about the innovation work that she is doing. So let's take a look at the different topics that we will touch upon today. So we're gonna take a little bit look into the history, how everything started out, and derive some of the lessons learned that we took from that, and how the journey really turned out for DHL, standardizing and introducing vision picking as a standard technology, and the results that DHL has seen from there and that other companies can also achieve. I will also quickly touch upon a little bit of a bigger context, how wearables, AR, IoT all flow together in digitizing the shop floor and the warehouse floors. And then we're going to take a little bit of an outlook about the things that are next on the agenda. And having that said, I would love to hand it over to Gina to talk about how everything started.
All right, great. Thank you so much, Percy, for the very kind introduction. So we thought we'd actually start by giving a bit of background on how this journey started. Now, as you mentioned, like 7 years ago. It's gone by in the blink of an eye for me. But I think it is important because, wearable computing, AR, it's still really at the cutting edge of, human-machine interaction. And we were trying to start this back in 2014. So back in 2014, I actually initiated DHL's research project into augmented reality. And we published a report which looked into what are the different kinds of AR technology out on the market, what are some of the different smart glasses that are available now, and also what are some of the use cases for AR in the logistics industry. And one of the big use cases that we identified was using smart glasses for the order picking process. Because order picking in a warehouse, it's very labor intensive, it's typically quite prone to error, and there hasn't been a big innovation in the way we've done order picking for quite some time in the industry. So we initially started looking into, okay, what are some of the true AR devices on the market, where you can put it on. You look out into the warehouse and you see all of the contextual information perfectly overlaid. You see arrows pointing you into the right direction. And we very quickly figured out that, if such a device exists, it's going to be 6 digits and per device and way too expensive for our environment. So we actually had to kind of adjust our expectations and figure out, okay, what are some devices that are available here and now? And that's really how we ended up getting in touch with Ubimax and our happy kind of gang of partners back then for vision picking. So Ubimax was a great partner for us because they brought both the knowledge of hardware, and they also had the software and able to act as our system integrator for the topic. So at DHL, our approach wasn't to develop our own smart glasses. We weren't interested in developing the software from scratch ourselves. We just really wanted to work with an experienced partner that could bring that all together. So we partnered with Ubimax at the time. I think you guys were like only 7 or 8 people. We met at the room of the Innovation Center and said this is worth pursuing. And I took this to our operations and our customer, Ricoh, they're a technology company. And we then jointly decided to invest into one of the industry's very, very first proof of concepts on using smart glasses for order picking, which we've now coined pick by vision, vision picking. And we did this pilot in the Netherlands for multi-order case picking, and it was a success. So while the devices we used were still at the time pretty nascent, we're talking Google Glass Explorer, we're talking Vuzix M100, we still achieved a significant impact from this proof of concept. We had very positive feedback from our users. We had very positive feedback in terms of efficiency. I think back then, Percy, like compared to paper and RF, it was up to 25% increase in productivity. So after the successful pilot, I then kind of, took the results to our chief information officer within our business unit supply chain, and suggested, how about we scale this, implement it, and then scale this across our business and be an early adopter, and make vision picking a new standard in the industry. And at the same time as we were coming up with this proposal, Google then actually wanted to take Explorer into the Enterprise Edition, and invited us to be part of the early access program through Ubimax. So this all came together at the time. It was honestly one of the very first projects that we did as a company, working with startups, then globally scaling up a solution. So I think that's a good segue then into the next slide, Percy, which is what were some of the lessons that we made along the way, taking this from a very simple proof of concept in 2014 to developing this into an industry standard.
Absolutely, that's a good transition, and I really have to say that one of the things that amazed me the most is growing up in Germany. The German Post was not necessarily, as a child, the company that I would have seen as one of the global innovators, and so it was great to see that DHL really contradicted me, and to see that a German company came up with such a good approach for taking a broad look at all the innovations out there, keeping track of them. I mean, not only AR, but all the other things that you do, Gina, as well, and then bringing those into the enterprise. And it's never an easy journey to bring innovation to companies, but DHL has really mastered that. And also the openness that you took in the approach, as we all had, as you said, the mixed reality world in front of our minds, with the video that SAP had brought out about the warehouse picker, and we also all had these fancy overlays. But then we did the reality check with the Meta One Glass, for example, one of the overlay devices, and the crowd here will probably know it and remember it, which felt a little bit like going diving with the big goggles on your face and then the laptop on your back, and as the oxygen tank to drive the innovation that worked. We did the software for it. It worked. We did quite a bit of work with these type of devices as well, together with DHL. But we quickly narrowed down on the devices that Gina already mentioned, the Vuzix M100, and then also the Glass Explorer Edition, which were deployable at scale. And it still took a little bit of effort to figure out and push it, as I called it here, push the hardware envelope, what we can do with these devices. For example, I remember the M100 had these proximity sensors, so you could actually, not even without touching it, navigate. And we built these kind of commands into the early versions of our software, as we thought, okay, if people wear protective equipment, they would be able to navigate without needing to touch the small buttons on the device. Well, how wrong we were. It's first of all, you look pretty stupid when you try to do these navigational commands, and it also didn't. It interfered a little bit with adjusting the device and so on. So we quickly narrowed down on speech as one of the main mechanisms of interaction, and so vision picking is really a step further than voice picking. It's adding the visual elements to the voice picking systems that we know today, and also with the Google glasses. Unfortunately, still to date, one of the main questions I do get is, Google Glass, didn't they stop that? And Google, after having some initial rework more towards the B2B space from B2C was a little bit hesitant about being verbose about the device. So it was in that secretive environment. It wasn't that easy to be very innovative and to talk about it, because that's what obviously we as a startup want to do, is we want to show innovative ways, and our joint innovators like DHL also want to talk about it. And then there was some issues with cables and minor things you wouldn't anticipate as being a main topic, but we all overcame those and made sure that all of these devices were deployable at scale. And that's really what brought us a little bit closer to that plug and play. And Gina, maybe you want to talk about your kind of expectation when we talk about plug and play. What was your perception on that?
Yeah, I mean, I would say we've gotten a lot better since 2015 when I initiated the global implementation program, but nothing really in the logistics industry is plug and play. And if you found something that's plug and play, it's probably taken years of effort to get it to a way that you can instantly roll out software. So being in the third-party logistics industry, we operate warehouses for our customers. And sometimes it's our own warehouse management system. Sometimes it's our customers' warehouse management system. So we're operating a very, very fragmented IT landscape. So I always like to say that almost nothing is plug and play in our industry. So that meant for this global rollout program, the view was that we would implement and roll out in Europe, and that we would then implement and roll out in North America. But even within rolling it out, it wasn't connected to one system, and now you're like able to roll out vision picking to all these different warehouses that we operate. It was integration by integration by integration, which was not only adding costs, but it was also very time intensive. It was taking, I think, Ubimax's IT resources at the time. It was taking our IT. It was taking our customers' IT. So one of the biggest lessons that we made as a company from this global rollout program was not just for augmented reality or vision picking, but if we are going to get serious about digitalization and not just rolling out augmented reality, but robotics and other wearables, we're going to have to make investments into the way that we do manage IT at DHL. But also how quickly we're able to connect different solutions to different warehouse management systems. And that's one of the biggest, I would say, leapfrogs that we've made since this program, is this integration layer that enables us to be much more quicker at going to market with some of these new technologies. But I remember at the time, Percy, I think Ubimax also being relatively, early stage, we would be, sketching out the workflows, step by step, what would each step of that workflow look like and how should it be designed and what information we needed to do there. And now that's, something that we can do on your platform by ourselves. So I think that's also pretty significant.
Yeah, we've really, sorry, I didn't want to interrupt.
No, go ahead.
Yeah, we've really come a long way. It's both about providing standard tools for adapting, like the creator that we have in our solution suite now, so you can iteratively adapt and fine-tune the processes, but also about defining a new industry standard and a best practice process based on a lot of different deployments that we have been doing, which made it very powerful. And at the same time, as you mentioned, you guys were standardizing on certain backend infrastructure, certain JDA versions, and we were also developing, based on the work that we do with you guys, but also some other customers, a lot of standard connectors to tap into various backend systems to become closer to that plug and play area. Maybe let's jump quickly into a video that DHL has released, and it shows a little bit of the work that has been done, and it gives you a visual feeling of what vision picking and innovation at DHL really is all about.
We are at the cusp of a new industrial revolution, Industry 4.0, which relies on innovation to digitize existing business processes to help improve speed, cost, and quality. In logistics, DHL is using its expertise, along with key technology partners, to deliver added value through these emerging technologies. One example is improving the picking process utilizing augmented reality technology. Our vision picking solution has already been integrated into multiple operations across the globe, delivering substantial benefits to our customers and proving it can provide a competitive edge.
If you look, let's say, 10 years back in the logistic world, it was very much about process optimization. But nowadays you see really process restructuring.
By wearing advanced smart glasses, pickers use a hands-free visual guide throughout the picking process. The smart glasses display identifies the location number, scans the product barcode, identifies the number of items to be picked, and shows where each item should be placed in the trolley. Used for both single and multi-order picking, the solution enables order picking at a faster pace with reduced error rates.
About 50% of the total hours we spend in a typical warehouse are spent on picking. At the moment we have about a 15% picking productivity improvement as a result of implementing the vision picking technology.
We are in a very competitive market, so it's very important that we stay ahead of the competition. We need step changes, and we're really looking for companies like DHL to help us with innovative solutions.
Vision picking is creating an even higher accuracy and is helping us to exceed the customer's expectations.
The vision picking delivers benefits in terms of quality and efficiency. The efficiency comes from the fact that the operators can do the picking with their hands free, and the quality comes from the visual aids they have to put the product and to sort the product into the right bins.
We have also seen that the training is going much quicker because it's more or less learning by doing.
It's quite easy to learn to use because the system tells you already everything what you have to do. So every information what you need is already in one screen.
Then you have your both hands free, so you can work quicker.
As a team, it makes it easier for us to do the job more accurately. As a company, they get the distribution and product to the customer faster. And as a customer, most importantly, they get what they've ordered on time correctly. And it's not a futuristic thing, it's the present. And it's happening now, and we're loving it.
Continuous improvement is a very important topic. Nikon is also delighted that DHL is taking step, and this vision picking is a very beautiful innovation.
Vision picking is just one example of how we're using technology to help customers take a leap forward in their competitiveness. To find out more about how our solutions can help your business, please get in touch.
Great, so that video showed a little bit about how vision picking is really working in practice today at DHL. And on the slide, you see just a couple of the benefits that we achieve from using vision picking in our warehouses. So some of the benefits are around reducing training time by up to 50%, which is significant in our world where we have a lot of new workers, seasonal workers that we're constantly onboarding. The second one was that we achieved an average of 15% increase in productivity. And we've seen there also warehouses that really optimize for the smart glasses achieve higher productivity than just overlaying smart glasses on the existing process. So that's another, I think, lesson that we learned along the way. And we've also figured out where does vision picking apply best to. So it's not for every single process in the warehouse, but we've seen it's specifically very suitable for multi-order unit picking, case picking, case to pallet picking. So warehouses that have that kind of profile is where we're rolling out vision picking across DHL. Then we've also had higher employee satisfaction. I think there the overwhelming feedback from our workforce has been, using smart glasses that are cutting edge. It's closer to, what you use like your iPhone than the RF guns that you use in the warehouses today with green font on black screen. So it was great to get that feedback. And then one of the other benefits is that it's also less error prone. And I think probably the biggest impact was the change management, right? We learned very early on, and this is speaking now 6-7 years ago, just how important it is to invest into change management as an organization implementing cutting edge human machine interaction devices at the end of the day. So I think that lasting cultural change and the lasting changes that we made to, procurement, finance, IT, I think that's probably the biggest impact that it's had for us as a company. Anything else to add there, Percy?
I just would want to say that obviously, as we all went into COVID, we were a little bit worried that maybe DHL also would kind of slow down activities, which was not the case, and it was great to see that DHL has some very prosperous business units around the life science and consumer space that are really embracing this technology as they're faced with an additional demand with all the order spikes coming in, and they really take advantage of this new technology to meet these higher demands, and we're happy to work with them. Having that said, maybe I can say just a few words about a little bit how TeamViewer and Ubimax together are a very strong combination to bring digitization to the shop floor and the warehouse floor. As if we talk about IoT, we often talk about things, and then we talk about that digital twin and the combination of those two, and how you can create a closed feedback loop to provide transparency about your equipment and machinery, but also allow you to remote control it. And that's what TeamViewer has a very strong history in. What is still required in most of the cases, at some point in time, frontline worker become part of the picture. And so they need to get access to that information, and they need to go on site and either do some maintenance work or some services work, or they co-work together with robots and other manufacturing equipment. So our frontline suite was always focused on providing this type of information to the workers using wearables and AR in a intuitive kind of way. So you loop the workers into that picture based on the information that TeamViewer already is aggregating out of the system and machinery. At the same time, when you just take a look at the one-to-one representation about the sensors and status updates that come out of the machines, you're missing the work that the workers are doing. Are they really doing what they're supposed to do? Are they doing it in the right kind of way? So we use the information that the frontline suite gathers as validation, and we combine that into a joint data pool, which is a very powerful combination. So you can see that the combination out of frontline together with the traditional TeamViewer technology allows you to digitize the shop floor end to end and create a space beyond IoT, which often is talked about the Internet of Humans. So companies like DHL and also others are expanding from the original logistics scope and it's expanding into all kinds of other work instructions. And I would love to show a quick video from CocaCola as they have embraced that. They also started in logistics and have taken it to all kinds of other processes.
Smart Glasses technology supports operators to solve everyday technical problems on a production line by providing a fast and reliable connection to internal or external experts who can provide knowledge and solutions for troubleshooting. Experts can send them information on the smart glasses, highlight specific parts on the video, record the video for further checks, hang up call, and guide the operator to a solution while reducing the line downtime up to 50%. Smart Glasses is a powerful tool for virtual training and developing multiple skills, showing the right sequence and attention points in performing tasks and providing 30% faster onboarding training. At the same time, it can guide operators through complex sequences on a production line with a 20% time reduction and avoiding mistake. The Smart Glasses solution is now deployed in 27 plants worldwide, with an additional 16 plants coming in 2020.
So you can see that it doesn't stop at logistics, but let's close the loop also here and bring it back to DHL, because also DHL is taking it to the next level and going into other logistics processes and other activities that are wearable and AR related. So let me hand it back over to Gina to talk about that a little bit.
Great. Yeah, I mean, I think there's so much more potential for AR in our world, and we've been using it actually thanks to, I guess, everything that's happening with coronavirus. We've been using it also for remote site support. So as we're not able to actually access some of our operations around the world, we're able to use the smart glasses and actually see and guide some of our workers on the processes. There's other use cases around sorting, around loading that we've been exploring as well. And I'm really excited to see what the devices also look like 2-3 generations down the line, because I think innovations in that space in itself will also allow for more use cases in our industry.
Very true. We're always excited because I think the hardware needs to catch up a little bit with all the cool software stuff we already can do. And the lines get more and more blurry between different use cases as logistics companies provide value-added services and additional pre-assembly steps and all these kind of things, and also use the devices for maintenance on the equipment and collaborate and so on. So let's jump into the Q&A session. Thanks a lot for tuning in, and hopefully we have a good discussion going on now, either right now or also later at our virtual booth. And thanks a lot, Gina, for joining me today in being here and providing such a lively overview of the journey that we together had with DHL.